everyone and welcome to Art Across Time. I'm your host Ma.theresafe and today we were diving into a really interesting topic that connects arts, history, and philosophy. We'll be talking about Renaissance art and academic art and how both related to the philosophy of aesthetic or simply the study of beauty.
Yeah, and this isn't just about paintings or sculptures. It's really about how people across time have tried to answer one simple question. What makes something beautiful?
Exactly, and the answer isn't as simple as it sounds. Different time periods and even different thinkers have very different ideas about what beauty really means.
Start with the foundation, the philosophy of aesthetics. This is a branch of philosophy that studies beauty, art, and taste, basically why we like what we like.
Even in ancient times, philosophers were already debating this. For example, Plato. Plato believed that beauty is something perfect and eternal. For him, what we see in the real world is just an imperfect copy of a higher ideal form of beauty.
So, in Plato's view, beauty isn't really about what we see, it's about something deeper, almost spiritual.
On the other hand, Aristotle had a different idea. He believed beauty comes from things we can observe like balance, proportion, and harmony.
So if something looks organized, symmetrical, and well-structured, Aristotle would say it's beautiful.
And these two perspectives, ideal beauty versus observable beauty, actually influenced many art movements, especially during the Renaissance.
Now let's move to Renaissance art, which began in Europe around the 14th century. So the word Renaissance means rebirth, and it was a time when people rediscovered classical ideas from ancient Greece and Rome.
Artists during this time wasted their work to look more realistic and human. They studied anatomy, depth and perspective to create depth and life on their art.
Some of the most famous artists from this period include Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, and Raphael.
What's interesting is that these artists weren't just painters, they were also scientists and thinkers. So Leonardo da Vinci, for example, studied human anatomy to make these paintings so more accurate.
That's why Renaissance art feels so alive. The faces show real emotions, the body looks natural, and the scenes look like they could actually happen.
From an aesthetic point of view, Renaissance art reflects Aristotle's idea of beauty, balance, proportion, and harmony.
But at the same time, it's also connected to Plato's idea of ideal beauty, especially in how the human body is often shown as perfect or elevated.
It's like a combination of both philosophies, realistic but also idealized.
And that's what makes Renaissance art so powerful. It doesn't just copy reality, it improves it, giving us a version of the world that feels both true and beautiful.
Now let's move forward in the time to academic art, which became popular between the 17th and 19th centuries.
This type of art was taught in formal school, especially in Europe. Artists followed strict rules about techniques, subject, and composition.
Unlike Renaissance artists who explored and experimented, academic artists were trained to follow standards. Their goal was perfection.
Subjects were usually historical, mythological, or religious. Everything had to look polished, detailed, and idealized.
In terms of aesthetics, academic art supports the idea that the beauty can be taught and measured almost like there's a formula for it.
It's very structured. If Renaissance art is about discovery, academic art is about discipline.
But here's where things get interesting. Not everyone agreed with this approach.
Some artists started to feel that academic art was too rigid to focus on rules and not enough on creativity.
They began asking, is beauty really just about perfection?
So now let's compare. Renaissance art shows beauty as something natural, balanced, and connected to human experience.
While academic art shows beauty as something controlled, structured, and perfected through training.
And then aesthetics, the philosophy behind it, help us understand why both perspectives exist.
People are drawn to realistic and harmonious beauty.
While others appreciate discipline, precision, and technical mastery.
And later on, artists even started to explore beauty in imperfections, emotion, and abstraction.
Which shows that beauty isn't fixed, it changes over time.
And art is not just about what we see. It's about how we think and feel what we see.
Renaissance art reminds us of human potential and natural beauty.
Academic art reminds us of skill.
And the philosophy of aesthetics ties everything together by asking the deeper question, why do we find something beautiful?
Yeah, maybe there's no single answer, and that's okay.
Because that's what makes art meaningful. It allows us to see the world in different ways.
And more importantly, it allows us to understand ourselves.
Through art, we don't just observe beauty, we experience it.
That's it for today's episodes of Art Across Times. Thank you so much for listening.
See you next time!
See you next time.